Banshee is an old friend. She's been around the block a while. And so in this video, I'm going to be talking about what players like about her. It's an extremely simple concept. Now, she is actually quite a loved frame for a few reasons actually. The first of which is that Sonar is extremely good at buffing weapons. Because Sonar buffs your weapons pretty much directly by offering an amazing damage multiplier when you hit the critical weak points, it works fantastic on pretty much any boss really. She's a boss shredder. So you could go into an Archon hunt, activate Sonar, and blast the guy, deal millions of damage, and he'll be down in just a few hits. Of course, you have to be able to hit these weak points while they're actually moving instead of standing still. Otherwise, the amount of damage you'll do will be negligible. And with this, she makes pretty much any weapon feel amazing. Whether you're rolling with a Burstin, a Torrid, the Cortec, any weapon you can imagine, she can boost the damage immeasurably. Well, it is measurable, but you get the point. She can add a great damage multiplier to it, so long as you have the proper build for it, of course. My damage multiplier is 6.5 times, but I've seen people have damage multipliers up to 10 times, which I thought was absurd. Next is Silence. Silence, her third ability, is actually incredibly useful. Silence is amazing because it's a nice crowd control ability. It stuns them for about 2 to 3 seconds. And if you run Savage Silence as well, which is something a lot of people do, a Savage Gloom build, you're able to stagger the enemies and then finish them with increased 300% damage, which is absurd. That is usually enough to, depending on your melee build, kill pretty much any enemy. And then next, pretty much the final thing I'm going to focus on really is her strong crowd control. I briefly mentioned it with Silence, but not just Silence. Her first ability, Sound Quake, also crowd controls enemies, knocks them back. If you run the augment for it, 2 casts will be enough to full strip their armor, which is incredibly useful for survivability and just damage dealing in general. And then naturally, Silence is gonna be good for just staggering the enemies, especially if you run Savage Silence. Now, Silence and Sound Quake are no longer the powerhouses they once were, but they're still very good for breathing room for the player and helping control enemies, and naturally, full stripping is incredibly useful no matter what. She's a bit of a glass cannon though, which is a bit of a caveat. You know, she doesn't have any natural survivability of her own. You're gonna have to use shield gating. She's never been one of the most played Warframes, but I think she's definitely worth giving a shot if you've never played her before. She definitely has a very satisfying gameplay loop if you enjoy weapons. If you prefer nuking, then she's not going to be your cup of tea, but if you like playing a weapon main Warframe, then she will be fantastic. There's nothing quite like the feeling of hitting an enemy and getting that crit on them and watching them get absolutely shredded. And so with that being said, that's pretty much just about it. Let me know what you think about Banshee, whether you love her, hate her, or are indifferent to her. I honestly think if you haven't tried it before, you should give her a shot. She is more than worth it. And with that being said, until next time.